What's up, gamers? How's it going? Today, we are going to be doing some Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck showcases. I'm gonna showcase some of the decks that I've made on Omega. And if you don't like the way I pronounce Omega, you're gonna have to suck it up. Because I called it Omega once as a joke, and I haven't been able to stop. So, please just bear with it. Maybe one day I'll be fixed. I do want to say, most of these decks are for Master Duel, because that is the Yu-Gi-Oh! That I play most of the time. A couple of these decks are for real life, because I thought I might want to build them in real life, but I still haven't. But today I want to showcase one deck in particular, namely the Bystial deck that I came up with, because Master Duel just got the Bystial cards, and I think they look really cool, so I wanted to use them. Yep, it is Symphonics plus Bystial. If you're wondering why would I put Bystial and Symphonics together, it's because I really like Symphonics, and you can rip my silly little guitars out of my cold dead hands. Now then, let's take a look at the cards. Symphonic cards, we have DJ, guitar, guitarist, drums, piano, and synthesis. The four main symphonics that you always run are synthesis, DJ, guitar, and guitarist, for those of you that don't know symphonics, while the other symphonics are run on a case-by-case basis, but most of the time you don't really run any of them, because their effects are very situational. I'm going to assume that almost nobody else knows what symphonic cards do, so I'm going to go over the symphonic cards. Let's start with the ones you don't usually run, shall we? So, Basis, which isn't in the deck, you can select the face-up Symphonic Warrior and increase that card's level by the number of cards in your hand. It stays like that until the end phase. Drums, select one face-up Symphonic monster on the field, and you can change that monster's attribute to any attribute. Piano, select the face-up Symphonic card, monster, obviously, declare a monster type, and it becomes that monster type. These three cards, well, not bases, but piano and drums can lead to some very funny situations. Specifically for piano, I can make the Hieratic Seal with just symphonic cards because of good old piano. It's very funny. But all of these Symphonic Warrior cards, these three, have an effect in the graveyard, which is you can banish them to target a face-up Symphonic Warrior and do their normal effect. So banish piano from the graveyard, target a face-up monster, and you can change that Symphonic to, I don't know, a dragon, dinosaur, worm, any of them. And these cards get banished for their effects. Now, let's go over Synthesis. First main effect, it's a flip effect, so it's not that good, but it's got synergy. But flip effect, add a Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck to your hand, except Synthesis. Now, the really important effect is its last effect. Like the flip effect, pretty good, but it's a flip effect, so you know how it is. But its last effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one of your banished Symphonic Warrior monsters. Most of the time this is going to be piano, drums, or basses, because that's where they go. But in case one of your pendulum symphonic warriors get banished somehow, you can pull them out with synthesis, and it special summons them. The main effect, while it's on the board, isn't that useful unless you already have piano, drums, or basses on the field or in the graveyard, because it targets one of those symphonic warrior monsters, any symphonic warrior monster, sorry, and until the end phase, it copies that name and the effect. Very funny card. I love these guys. They're so good. They're so funny. There's so much juice that they got. Now, Guitarus, he is a extender? Question mark? All of them kind of extend except for these three. But all of the pendulums kind of extend. It's kind of part of the combo. I'm not a good Yu-Gi-Oh player by any means. I just play my silly little guitars and have fun. But let's take a look at the pendulum effects. So for Guitarus, you can target one other symphonic warrior card you control. Yes, that does include the other pendulum zone. If you have another symphonic in there, you can return both the card you target and Guitarus back to your hand. It can only be used once per turn, and that's a hard once per turn. By the way, I didn't mention this, but piano, drums, and basses are not hard once per turns. Synthesis also is not a hard once per turn on any of its effects. And that's kind of a trend for these cards. Now, for Guitarus' monster effect, if the field spell Simp Amplifier is in your field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand, and that is this field spell right here, but we can talk about that one later. And if this is normal or special summoned, you can target one card in your pendulum zone and return it to the hand. So, say you have Guitar and DJ in your hand, in your pendulum scales, normal special summon Guitarus, these two are high scales, you want one of them off. Either DJ or Guitar. Either one doesn't particularly matter, but most of the time you'll be taking Guitar off. Yeah, Guitar off. Because DJ has an effect that if a Symphonic Warrior monster's effect is activated, it's special summon it from the pendulum zone. That effect is a hard once per turn. And that is one of the only hard once per turns in this archetype. But yeah, that's for Guitarus. He is a tuner, and he can facilitate a lot of things. DJ. DJ has the most text out of all of these symphonic cards. Rocks is kind of close. But Pendulum effect. During your main phase, once per turn, you can flip a face down defense position Symphonic Warrior monster to face up defense, which is the target of this. This is what you would target with DJ. Then, after you flip Synthesis, activate Synthesis, add a card to hand, and then you can summon DJ from the Pendulum Zone. So that's pretty good. That gets you 2 monsters on the board, as well as 2 level 4s, so if you really wanted to, you could go into an Xyz, or go into, like, Beyond the Pendulum or something. Can't go into Electromite because Synthesis isn't a Pendulum, but if you have another Pendulum monster in hand, you can start normal summon at that point. Unless you used a normal summon on Synthesis, in which case you should add Guitar to your hand. But we can talk about that more after we finish DJ. Now then, DJ's monster effect. This card is normal special summoned. You can special summon one Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck in face down defense position. A common combo that you could do is normal summon. You need Guitarist and DJ in your hand for this to actually work, or Guitarist and Guitar. But if you have Guitarist and DJ in your hand, you normal summon DJ, you put down Synthesis in face down position, you put Guitarist in the Pendulum Zone, activate its effect, return DJ to hand, put DJ into the Pendulum Zone, and then flip the Synthesis face up, adding a Symphonic card to your hand. It's a lot of work for one card. 2 cards, technically. But it's nice. I like it. Now, if you have the field spell on the zone, you can special a Symphonic Warrior monster from the deck, not face down, but its effects are negated. So, if you wanted to do that, you could. So, for example, if you wanted to immediately go into a Synchro, you could use DJ with the field spell on the board, obviously. Summon one of the tuners, probably piano or guitar, because the Synchro is a level 7. And 3 plus 4 is 7. Then you go into Rocks, and then Rocks effect, pretty nice. We'll talk about it later, but you can add DJ back to hand with Rocks when you summon it. And let's take a look at what is once per turn. Hard once per turn on DJ. The special summon effect of DJ is once per turn, hard once per turn. The normal or special summon effect on DJ is hard once per turn. The flip effect is not hard once per turn. So there's some news for you. Now, Guitar. Guitar has the least amount of text out of all of these cards, but it is arguably the most important card. Guitar's Pendulum effect, which is what you use it for mainly, discard 1 card and special summon a Symphonic Warrior monster from the deck. That's it. You just get a Symphonic Warrior out on the field. Most of the time, you're going to be special summoning DJ with this, unless you have DJ in hand, in which case you have leeway to go into something else. Like basses, drums, piano, guitar, any of them really, except for Synthesis. This card isn't called Synthesis, it's called Synthes. Now I'm going to keep calling it Synthesis. You could also get mics. But let's finish talking about Guitar. Pendulum effect, yeah, that's done and dusted. But monster effect, when this card is normal summoned, not special summoned. Doesn't work if you special summon it. Pendulum summon it, doesn't work. Gotta normal summon this guy. But normal summon it, target a Symphonic Warrior monster in the graveyard, special summon it. Yes, that does apply to the Synchro if it somehow ends up in the graveyard, because it is a Symphonic Warrior. It's also one of the best ones because it has all of them on the card. But you almost never use the normal summon effect of Guitar, I'll be honest. But when you do use it, it goes kind of hard. So it's like, whoa, he can do that? But let's talk about mics. First of all, unless you have a Symphonic Warrior card in the other Pendulum Zone, this guy's scale is 4, which is not very good for your monsters, because Mike's is the only one that is higher than 4. And Pendulum Summoning is not inclusive for some reason. I still hate that, but it's better than Link Summoning. So if you're going to be running this guy, you should probably make sure to use him in the Pendulum Zone if you have another Symphonic Warrior card. But the main reason why you would want this guy in your Pendulum Zone is for the other effect that he has, which is during the end phase, your end phase, if you have a banished Symphonic Warrior monster, you can target one of those guys and add it to your hand. This case doesn't come up very often, but whenever it does, it is pretty useful. And usually, if we're being honest with each other, you usually only run mics at 1 or not at all. Sorry, mics, you're just not that good. At least, I don't think he is. But his monster effect is pretty nice. Special summon this card from the hand by removing 3 symphonic counters from your field. We will get into that as soon as we're done talking about rocks. Alright? And I'm sorry if this is taking a while, but I just wanna talk about my silly little guitars, alright? Is that so much to want? I don't get to talk about these guys much. But remove 3 counters from the field, symphonic counters, special summon this guy. After you normal or special summon this guy, you get 1 additional normal summon during your main phase. That is not specific to Symphonic Warrior cards. That is just another normal summon. Why is it not specific to Symphonic cards? I don't know. Maybe because it'd be a ruling nightmare. But, yeah, you get another normal summon. It's kind of good. Doesn't come up often, though. Now then, rocks. We're going to start with a monster effect because the pendulum effect doesn't come up that often, alright? Monster effect. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. Which, most of the time, you're going to be summoning this guy with at least 1 pendulum monster, either Guitarist or DJ, because Guitarist is a level 3 tuner, and DJ is a level 4 normal guy. So, you could do Piano DJ, Guitar Synthesis. You could also go Piano Synthesis for Drox, but then you wouldn't be able to add a face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand unless you already had a guy there. But that's a pretty good effect for continuation. Now then, if you have Simple Amplifier in your field zone, you can destroy a card on the field. It's not great, considering it needs the field spell on the field. But my still little guitar, I love it. The part of the card that like all extra deck monsters have that are pendulum monsters. This card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect. You can place it in your pendulum zone. Now let's talk about his pendulum effect. During each standby phase, you can add 1 face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. It's not great, but it does have its uses. But the other effect that he has, when he's in the pendulum zone, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can destroy both that monster and this card. So you got some protection there, which is alright, I would say. Now then, let's talk about where to get symphonic counters for mics. Mics is the only one that does anything with the counters because the cards themselves that give counters do something with the counters. And we'll start with the continuous spell rather than the field spell. So, each time an effect of a symphonic... Whoa. Each time an effect of a Symphonic Warrior card is activated, place 1 symphonic counter on this card when that effect resolves. If it's negated... Nope, not true. If it gets negated, it still gets a counter. Because at least if the card is already negated, Like if you summon Piano with the effect of DJ, face up, you activate Piano, it's negated, but the effect still goes off, and you get a counter. And that effect is also on the field spell, so they've got the same effect, the same first effect to generate counters. They have different activated effects, however. So, General Probe. You can remove 3 Symphonic counters from your field to add 1 Symphonic Warrior monster from your deck to your hand. It's good continuation. It's good extender if you can get that many counters on the field. The big one on General Probe, however, is if you normal or special summon a Symphonic Warrior monster, you can add the field spell from your deck to hand. That's important because the field spell is very important for the deck, in my eyes. I've looked around, and a lot of the lists that run Symphonics don't run the field spell. Don't know why, because they pop off. And the field spell, I think, is pretty good. Let's get into the field spell, shall we? So, each time an effect is activated from the monster, you get a Symphonic counter. Now then, all Symphonic monsters, Symphonic Warrior monsters on the field gain 100 attack for each counter on the field spell. General Probe is not taken into account for the attack increase. Now, once per turn, you can remove 5 or 7 counters from your field and apply one of the effects below. For 5 counters removed, you can inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each Symphonic Warrior card on the field, which I think is pretty funny. So, if you really wanted to stretch it out, you could technically do like 2100 damage if you have 2 Symphonics in your Pendulum zones, as well as all the field zones filled with Symphonics. Actually, step further, 2400 damage, because you could put rocks in the extra monster zone. That'd be pretty funny to see. I should do that one day. Or, if you remove 7 Symphonic counters from your field, you can banish cards your opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to the number of Symphonic Warrior cards on the field. This does mean you can banish up to 8 cards that your opponent controls or is in their graveyard if you can manage to fill up all of your zones. But most of the time, you'll probably be activating that effect with like 3 to 4 Symphonic Warrior cards on the field. It's okay. But the main part about this and why I think it's so good is this effect is non-targeting. They can't get around it unless they're just not affected. But otherwise, what are they gonna do? They can't get around non-targeting banish. My silly little guitars. I love them. That took a lot longer than I thought it would. I just love my silly little guitars. I could talk about them all day. Okay, but let's get into the rest of the deck, shall we? I took a look at bestial lists to see what people were running, and I said, damn, these people be lame. Because there's a lot of cringe cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think. One of these days I'm gonna cave in and use them, but for now, I'll do my own thing. Cringe cards mostly relate to negates, if you're wondering. I think a lot of people know what the Bystials do. But the reason why I put them with Symphonics is it's because I felt like it. What are you gonna do, fight me? No. But I wanted all of the Beastials that Master Duel currently has to offer because I like the way the Beastials look. And I didn't want to ditch any. Like, look at these guys. They look so cool. Also, we need more cards designed that look like Magnemute. I believe he's like... he was imprisoned based on the way he looks. But I love the way his like claws are coming through his restraints. I love that. Foolish Burial, it's for the Bystials. And also I could send one of the non-pendulums to the graveyard if I really wanted to. Called by Maxi Tax, Maxi Ash, Maxi Tax, yada yada. Branded Gained, and Branded Befallen. I did originally have the other trap in at this one, but I decided that it didn't really fit, so I took it out. Now then, you may be wondering, what synergies do these guys have? And you will be happy to hear that they kind of do. Honestly, I might take out drums because the attribute doesn't particularly matter, or I might take them down to 1. But let's do a test hand for you guys and see if we can actually open up with something. This is nothing. Here, get a different hand. Okay, this is workable. So we activate guitar, discard piano, special summon synthesis, not synthesis, DJ. Activate DJ, special summon synthesis, face down obviously. Then we can normal summon piano to then special summon rocks, which gets me the DJ back into hand. We put DJ in the pendulum zone, activate him, flip synthesis. We probably want to get guitarist here, so we will. But then special summon DJ. Now then, here is a slight issue. I should have discarded the drums. If I had discarded the drums, I'll be able to make rocks a something else. But we still do something here, specifically beyond the pendulum. Go with these two. Activate the effect. Add probably guitar. But for now, we need to put guitars here, then pendulum summon, and pendulum summon Druid's Warp, because it's level 6 and we currently have a 0 to 7. So we can summon levels 1 to 6. And I think that's cool. Here we go. Here's another DJ. Here's drums. And here's Druid's Warp. Now then, we could go into a couple things here. First, we could go into Chaos Ruler, because this is the Master Duel list and not the TCG list. Could go into Tilting Entertainment, which I think is a really funny card. Or we could just go into Electromite. I don't think we should go into Electromite, because that'll take a rocks and DJ. So let's go into Chaos Ruler and get lucky. Alright. Activate. Excavate. There's Baldrake. The Serenir. was really hoping to get Rebellion. That is a shame. Let's get Serenir. Activate Serenir. Banish Baldric. At this point, we want to activate Drums. Make this a dark, just because we can. Then activate Synthesis to summon Drums. Then we can go into Tilting Entertainment with Drums and Serenir. We want to activate both of these effects. We'll activate Serenir first. Special Summon Guitar. And we want to send Rebellion to the graveyard. Now then, if you guys want to see something funny, because you guys are about to see something hilarious. We activate Drums. We target rocks, make it a dark. We activate Piano. We target Drums, make it a dragon. We activate Rebellion. We tribute rocks. Here's Rebellion. Activate Rebellion. Put the spell down. Ah. It's so fucking funny, dude. I love my silly little guitars. Ah. It's so satisfying. From here, we don't really need Chaos Ruler on the field. So what we'll do is we'll activate Piano, use Guitar, change him to Dragon. Then, I messed up my zones. This usually happens. I still hate Link monsters. We're going into Electromite, it seems. I wanted to go into the Hierarchic Seal, but it seems like I'm not. I'll activate Electromite. I'm gonna destroy Guitar to then add Guitar. Oh! Oh! It's him! That's actually perfect. We can get rid of the Chaos Ruler. Turn that to deck. Oh, hey, Rebellion! Neat! Activate that. I would like to summon Juice Worm? Yeah, Juice Worm. And so this is pretty much the end board. You could, you know what? I think it would be better to actually do that. You could do this to do this, and that's the end board. I don't think it's bad, but it is certainly not like Barone or something, or Mirror Chain. But either way, this is such a funny deck. Any deck with Symphonic, I think, is very funny. So, yeah, that's a deck. I hope you guys like it. And yeah, that's it. I will see you guys next time. I was going to talk about another deck, but it's been half an hour already. But next time, I'll give you a quick showcase. This one. This is the deck I'm going to show you next time. And this is the deck I want to build in real life. I don't think I'm going to get all these cards immediately. Mostly the extra deck cards. I do have this one already. My friend pulled it. So they gave it to me for something. I'm going to buy them something later, like an IOU. But yeah, that's it. And I will see you fellas later. Peace out.